Yeah.
I will tell you in two or three sprints a much more accurate estimate than those guys did ever.
Yeah.
Just wait 2 or 3 months or sprints or whatever, and then you get it.
And this is basic estimating stuff, right? Like if you read any book on estimation, they'll tell you you never commit upfront to an exact number. Because the greater the uncertainty, the bigger the range has to be. And as the project goes on, the uncertainty goes down. Therefore, the range can get smaller. So you need to educate people on that. So what happens is in the traditional community is when you get this situation where the client absolutely insists on a hard number. Well, you do the estimate, you get the range, and then in the contract negotiation, you try to go for the top, as close to the top of the range as possible. Because what they're doing is they're trying to push the risk on you, and you need to push back and put the risk on them. Because what's going on there is they are abdicating responsibility for management, right? They're trying to reduce their financial risk, but they're actually, in fact, going to increase it because it motivates a lot of really bad behavior when you do these fixed price contracts. So if that's what they choose to do, then you as a professional you need to make a couple decisions. If you want to play that game, then you need to go into risk management mode yourself and push the cost, push your estimate up as high as you can get it. Or you need to choose to walk away, and you need to say, well, okay, fine, I don't work like this. It's too risky. Please go talk to my competitors, and I'm sure they'll be happy to take your money. So these are the decisions you got to make, and however you make that decision is, however and so some companies will decide to actually go at risk and do the fixed price stuff. Some will not, and both those are both valid decisions. Both are fine.
And how do you do that when you do projects for the government, where there's
they're not profit oriented.
in our country, there's always a bidding process where you have to put your offer up front.
So when I ran, before I joined IBM, I ran a consulting company, and because I ran it, I got to set policy, and our policy was we did not do government work. Except for training, we do small simple things like training, because doing fixed price for a 1-week training gig is not all that risky. But we wouldn't do that, because there's just so many systemic problems in the government that it really wasn't, in a way, it's harsh to say, but when you deal with the government, you've got to look at it as a portfolio. And you've got to know that you're going to be doing X number of projects with them. A certain percentage are going to be losers because they'll go out of their way to make it fail, and that's just the way it's going to be. So it's really set up for that, and you've got to know going in that that's just the way it is, because they and rightfully so. It's not as if they're not purposely trying to fail, but they have some policies that definitely lead towards failure, and
they're not profit oriented. That's the biggest
some
issue.
Some are like
okay,
depends.
not in Hungary.
yeah. So it depends, and sometimes they are, or
there are the
sometimes
motivators in government projects. I think if the customer is a governmental entity, then they have a completely different motivation. They are not or motivated by profit, but by issues you might not comprehend at all.
Oh yeah, and not all corporations are like that either, right? So there's some that big companies can do questionable projects themselves, but and small companies can as well. But there are some systemic challenges with doing government work. So as a consultant, you have to decide, do you want to play that game? So my company chose no, because at least in the U.S., the bidding is, it was, I hate to say it, but in the United States, this is an American company, and an American company, a small American consulting firm run by a white man, has almost no chance of getting a government contract. End of story. So it wasn't even worth trying. Now in Europe it might be different, but in the United States it definitely wasn't. So what do you do? Right? So and we asked, for a while, I had my sales guy trained to ask, are we the third bidder? Because on a government contract, if you're the third bidder, sometimes they'll get consulting companies in just have a third bid when they, they're really, the first two bidders are in play and the third guy's there because the rules tell them they got to have three bidders.
Usually they bring along the third guy also, don't they?
Yeah, and it's devastating sometimes to be the bidder. Like if you're a small consulting company and you're the third bidder on a government project, it's you can spend a couple $100,000 conforming to that RFP. That's hard to recover when you're a three-man shop or 10-man shop. It's crazy.
I have already two comments to the answers. The first is that when the product owner doesn't act as a product owner, and he says that every requirement has the same business value, so it's no product backlog, then there is a team responsibility still on, so he can still act as a team and create for each item a risk and a size, and based on this value, assuming that each item is equal in business value, make a prioritized product backlog, and then still can stick on the Scrum principle to create the most benefit as he can and start with the most risky part, which in time creates the most business value. So in time you can act still as Scrum and producing a lot of benefit for the customer. This was the first comment. The second comment
But
for the
you
government.
as a Scrum Master are responsible for
Scrum
doing
Master
this.
cannot tell anything to the team to
Yes,
take
but this
care
is
of it.
about enforcing the process, I think.
Yes.
So it's the job of the Scrum Master to recognize that the process is not running well and suggesting measures like you did.
From Scrum
It's
Master
not
point
a mo-
of
it's
view,
not-
if the
it's
product
not-
owner says that each of the user stories have equal business value, that's a solution for
Yeah, but you as a Scrum Master, you should be working together with the product owner in prioritizing the backlog. So that is actually also somehow the job of the Scrum Master, I think.
yes,
But,
based on
but if the product owner abdicates, they abdicate, and then you've got to recover from that. And like another option is to cancel the project. Just hey, you guys are fooling around. Our time is valuable, and we can work on another project while you guys get your act together. And because I know very few IT departments that are not short of staff, right? So if you've got your choice of projects. If you've got one project team where the business folks are fooling around, and you got another project team that desperately that you got this other project that desperately needs to be staffed, and those people got their act together. Well, okay, you guys don't have your act together. Call us in 3 months. Okay, you guys are up. See, you can, but you've got to have a portfolio view of the world, right? So this is so then now you're in governance land again and stuff like that. So there's some challenges there.
And,
I guess that this topic with product owners' inability is not really new. And what we've been talking about in our company is that even in usual projects, or waterfall, or however you call them, you meet people who are a sort of customers, but they don't really know what they want, and they won't be able to turn themselves into product owners. And what usually happens is that we provide them a sort of consultant who takes then the role of the customer and tells us what to do, and not the customer. So, then the problem is you've got technical. It's better than nothing, but now you're not. Does that person actually represent the customer base? Probably not. So yes, you're showing progress, but you could be going down a rat hole and not know it. You really, the real stakeholders have to step up, and if they're not stepping up, that should be a sign that you've got a serious problem and that you're spending money on a project that really doesn't make a lot of business sense.